I thought about you during the finals. After they went up 3-0, you had to do a couple Western Canada's back to Florida. How were those flights on you? How was the body feeling at one point where you're just like, boys, can we end this, please?
That one day we went up there for game 4, I'll tell you. We met at the practice rink in Fort Lauderdale like 8 in the morning. We landed at Fort Lauderdale Airport the next day at 7 o'clock. So you're talking about a 23-hour shift on a plane up there. It was just the longest day of my life. And I think me and Brady and my daughter Taryn and a few other people, were sitting in the stands there, and just when they started getting clobbered, we were getting crucified. And we all had about friggin' 10 beers deep at that point. And we were like, let's get the hell out of here and go to the airport. But that was a tough day in the travel. I don't know how the players felt, but I know as a dad or a parent or a family member who didn't play, I was exhausted. So, but eventually they came through for us, but they made it interesting. And I got a little nervous. I'm not going to lie to you, but he reached his ultimate goal, is to be a Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was getting a little nervous myself. I came in for game 7 and I had Matty on afterwards, and he talked about a pretty special moment of you and Brady walking him to the car for game 7. So from the dad's perspective, he said you guys didn't say a whole lot. You kind of just walked him out there, but how cool, or what was your feeling there walking him to the car?
Well, you try not to make you look nervous, but Matthews is as professional as it gets, like the way he approaches things, and he felt confident. And I always like to be there when I'm in town for the playoffs. I do my little stint for a couple hours at the elbow room before I know he gets up from his nap and goes to the rink. I like to walk him out and just tell him I love you and play hard and do what you do best. And but he felt good about it. And I was dying inside. Brady was dying inside. My wife was dying inside. But his group found a way, and that's what makes them the champs now.
Yeah, Big Walt, it's just so cool to see the support system with the whole family, and especially during playoff time and throughout that run. And once the boys finally got it done, I thought the best game film out of the whole thing and the parade and everything was you just bombing around on the golf cart, picking up the boys, going bar to bar, and just being there and right in the mix, because not only were you a hell of a player, but it just seems like obviously such a good dad and just right in there with the fellas. So I just love seeing that. And just how much fun was that, just going around and with the mug and hanging out? Like, that's what, every dad dreams about.
Yeah. I mean, we want the best for our kids, and this is just something extra. All our kids are great kids, but just to see Matthew play a sport he loves and then to reach ultimate goal. And I remember after they won, we were on the ice, and Matthew was very generous when it comes to making sure everybody's included. And that's what I love about him. And, we were on the ice, then all the parents leave the ice, and then the players go in by themselves, which they should, and celebrate for a little bit. But this little bastard came up and grabbed me while everybody else was sitting there and brought me down to the locker room and just, gave me the cup, and they poured beer on me. And, then I don't know what happened. We got a ride home for somebody. And then when Matt and Chantel told me all the guys are coming over and we got to get ready at the house. And after that, it was almost over 48 hours with no sleep. So I loved being a part of it. I took the boys up to the elbow room, dropped them off, parked the car, and said, we won't see this car for a couple more days. So it was then they took the golf cart and left me up there. I had nowhere to get home from the elbow room back to Matthews. And Matthews was about a mile from the elbow room, and we had a big party at Matthews' house. So it was, I don't know. I'm just glad my parents were there to see that. It was the coolest thing. And in the way, the Vinny Viola and his family, Teresa, it's Florida does it right. They really do.
Yeah, that was great when you were in the room with the boys. And talking to Matty a couple days later after, he got his phone back in his hand, that was one of his favorite moments. He said, how about when my dad was in there and we were pouring beer on him? He's drinking out of the cup. I'm like, how cool is that? Because he knows what type of player you were, and he knows how much of a legend you were. And for him to share it with you, Big Walt, I know meant a lot to him. It was just a cool thing for everybody in the hockey world, my man.
Yeah, that's what makes Matthew. I mean, people see Matthew on the ice doing stuff, and yeah, it might drive me crazy sometimes, but he's a tremendous kid. I'm proud of him, and he knows how to handle himself with people. He treats people really good, and just for him to do that for myself meant the world to me. But that's the type of kid. Yeah, sometimes I want to crack him a few times, but he's a good kid, and I love the fact that he treats people really well with respect and never walked by anybody at the rink or anybody without saying hello. And that's what makes him special.
Yeah, and you can tell they grew up around the game. Him and Brady, they're both loved by their teammates, and the trainers love him. That's a big thing for me too. All the trainers love him. He takes care of those boys. But Jay Smith is right about the content. You had some great content. One of my favorite things is moving now. The Cup comes to St. Louis, and you talk about Matty doing. He couldn't have done more great things with the Cup when he was in St. Louis. As a guy who's known him for a little time, I was so proud of him. But there was a picture of you with your feet up, with the cup beside you. You had a nice cigar in your mouth, and I was just like, this has got to be a great feeling for you, having your oldest boy bring the Cup to St. Louis. It must have been a cool experience for you.
It was. This is the place Matthew grew up in our family. That's where all the kids grew up, and I guess I like my cigars. But we did they gave Matthew the Cup for 48 hours, so which is unheard of. So we got to have a lot of alone time, and we took it everywhere. And it was. We did a lot of things with it. It was fun. It was so cool. After that, I had to go on a sabbatical for about 4 months. So it was good.
Yeah. No, it was great, and I couldn't have been happy for Matty and the boys in Florida. And like you said, that's why they're champions.